You're not supposed to be happy, and you're not supposed to be content, and you're not supposed to be satisfied. Because you're sitting there going, why am I not happy? Why am I not satisfied? Why am I so miserable? That's exactly how you're supposed to be. I don't know where anyone got this idea that life was created and God created us all and built this entire world for us to sit here and just smile all day. Like children. No, you had your happy years when you were a toddler, when you got that cardboard box to play with, and you didn't appreciate them and you wasted them, and now they're all gone. You're an adult. All your happiness is gone. You're not allowed any anymore. You are supposed to feel frustrated. You're supposed to feel like there's so much that needs to be done. You're supposed to feel like you could have so much more from your life. You're supposed to feel motivated and on fire. You're supposed to feel lots of things, but not necessarily happy. I would say, although my life is basically perfect, I wouldn't call myself happy. I don't like that. Am I content? Yes. Am I absolutely capable? Do I have everything I've ever wanted? Yes. Do I have everything I've ever wished for? Can I have anything I desire to have? Absolutely. Am I respected? Yes. But do I wake up every day like, not really. And I think the people who do that are not particularly successful people. If you are constantly chasing happiness, you are going to fail. If you're constantly chasing happiness, you're going to end up doing hedonistic, dumb shit. You end up drinking, taking drugs, doing anything it takes to feel happy. If you're constantly chasing respect or importance, perhaps you will have a far more remarkable life filled with achievements. So you have to ask yourself, do you want to be an important man who is respected, or do you want to be happy? And this is a really interesting question. We can talk about this at length. Is Putin happy? I don't know. I mean, he has a lot on his plate. I'm sure Putin's plate is very full, but he is respected, and he is feared, and he's important, and his word matters. It's kind of interesting because I actually believe that respect is more important than happiness for men, and most men who are happy but not respected, it's temporary dumb shit. But men who are truly respected don't need to chase happiness, because when you talk, people listen. How could you be happy as a man if when you say things, nobody listens to you? You say X, and your wife ignores you, your kids ignore you, and all the men around you laugh. Oh sure, you can take some drugs after that to be happy. But are you truly happy in your heart? No, you're going to be happy when you're respected. So stop being obsessed with this idea of happiness. A lot of guys say to me, oh, I don't feel happy, I don't feel good, I don't feel well. Good. You're supposed to be depressed, you're supposed to be miserable because you're losing. And if what will happen is, if you work really hard and dedicate yourself and become a winner, then you will be not depressed and not miserable, but you'll be extremely preoccupied and concerned with your empire. But at least your word will mean something. And never at any point are you going to laugh and giggle like a 2-year-old toddler did. And that's fine, because you're not supposed to. Because men who act that way are weird. You find me a guy who turns up on time every time with a miserable look on his face and does his job. That's the kind of guy I want. Doesn't matter if he crashes his car. Doesn't matter if his house gets bombed. It's just another day, another shit day, another shit sandwich. Gotta go to work and get my work done. That's competence. You don't need happiness to be competent. So, happiness is for girls and kids. You're a man. If you don't feel happy, good, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to feel respected. And you're gonna do that via competence, masculine achievement, hard work, dedication, and becoming somebody worth respect.
What else are we alive for? What's the point in all of this if it's not to leave a positive mark in the world? What's the point of any of it? And what's the point in having children if they're not going to replicate you? Which means you have a duty to your kids to be as fantastic as possible. I can only hope my children are as good as I am, let alone better. Do you understand how important it is for humanity as a whole that there are 10 Andrew Tates in the future? Not 1, 10. Do you understand how important that is? I have a duty to them to flawlessly perform. People say to me, Andrew, you should shut up, they're going to put you in jail. If I shut up, I may not go to jail, but then I do not get to propagate my ideals, I do not get to show bravery to my offspring, I do not get to leave a mark on humanity. You think I'm afraid of a fucking jail cell? I'm afraid of eternal insignificance, which is fostered from cowardice. Because that is the life most of you men are living. You are too cowardly to do the difficult things which must be done to garner respect from allies and enemies alike. And you are going to be forgotten. You are never going to be remembered. Your sons will never wake up every day thinking, I have to be as good as dad. I have to try harder. This is why I quit drinking. People often ask me, Andrew, why'd you quit drinking? Because I have things to do now. When I was younger, the world was a very different place. 10, 15 years ago, the entire world was different than it is now. I don't feel like I've gotten older. I feel like the world has actually genuinely changed. And now we're in an age where the oncoming enslavement is so palatable. You can feel it, you can smell it, you can touch it. All you can possibly be doing is preparing for war. I'm a billionaire with unlimited finance who can do anything, and I spend most of my day training, making money, and educating my sons on how difficult their life's going to be. You have a lot less money and resource and capability and fame and knowledge and intellect than me. What are you doing with your time? You should be dedicating even more time to these things than I am. What are you doing with your time? Be honest. Going to the bar. Whoa, a girl! You're always going to feel empty until you just admit what you really want. And the beauty of it is, you can't believe that these things are owed to you, because they're not. The beauty about it is these things must be earned. People say women are ruined and feminism's destroyed them. It's true. Women are ruined to the point that their standards are now much higher. You can get a woman who will dedicate her life to you and trust you completely, but you have to be that guy. And you can make money, but you have to be that guy. And you can be feared by your enemies, but you have to be that guy. Things have changed. The difficulty has been turned up. The winners will get higher scores than ever before. The losers will be decimated in real time. The Western world is collapsing. Slavery is coming for everybody. And you need to at least be perspicacious enough to see all of this coming and indefatigable enough to work endlessly to do your best to resist. And your primary objective should be to have enough sons who will go into history and become fantastic enough for them to discuss who their father was. My father is still talked about every single day somewhere on the internet, not only because of his achievements, but because of who I am. The most common question I get asked by men is, why am I unhappy? And the answer isn't an answer they like, and I'm going to tell you all one more time why you feel empty and unhappy inside. It's because you deserve it. It's because you're a loser. It's because you haven't tried hard enough. It's because you're not significant enough. Because that hole in your heart will never be filled by the garbage and asinine bullshit you're doing with your life. Because nobody respects you and women don't pine after you. You don't have endless children from endless supermodels. You haven't achieved enough. Your name isn't respected. You're a fucking nobody. If I was you, I'd be unhappy too. And you deserve that unhappiness. And that unhappiness should be endless fire and motivation for you to do whatever it takes to get ahead. If I am outworking you and I'm already at the top of the mountain, how do you expect to ever get up here? At the absolute highest echelons of human achievement, I am still outworking you. I am not distracted by the things you're distracted by. I've got a huge head start. And if you ever want to feel truly content in your heart, if you ever want to look in the mirror and understand no matter what they do to me, if they put me in jail, if they attack me online, if they lie about me, if the BBC prints bullshit, if they matrix attack me, if they take my money, no matter what they do to me, I'm still that guy. It's only going to be achieved via hard work.
The reason you lose is because you've been programmed to lose by all of your experiences throughout life. Winners are programmed, losers are programmed. I was programmed to be a winner in any scenario because I was raised in a very specific way. You were not. So we're going to start at the absolute beginning of why you've ended up a loser, because most of you never self-reflect. You're dummies who never look in the mirror and say, how did I end up where I am? Why am I the person I am? Why do I believe the things I believe? You don't self-analyze. So you don't understand how your own mind works, which means you don't understand why you are where you are. Because before you make a move on the chessboard, you need to analyze your position. By analyzing the board, the smartest thing you can do is to try and take your strengths and play them off against your weaknesses. So if you're poor, you have hunger and motivation, what you have to do is fix the things you don't have. You need to get around rich people. You need to get a good network of people you can trust who have a lot of money. You need to find a teacher who's prepared to teach you how money really works. That's the first thing. The second thing, and your biggest problem to fix, is your monumental laziness. And you have to understand that you innately are lazy. You innately lack hunger and fire. You're innately afraid. You're a coward. You lack the balls it takes in many scenarios to get rich or die trying. That's the truth. People in the ghetto already have the fire. Those brothers already have fire. Yeah. They're already prepared to do anything it takes. You need to ignite the fire inside of you. You need to make sure there's something inside of you that's going to get you motivated like a poor person's hunger, because you've never felt it before. because the poor don't need motivation. The poor understand what it's like to be taken advantage of, and the poor understand what happens when you have no money and no food. You don't. You're not poor. You have food in your fridge, but you lack motivation because you're a dipshit. And that's why you've actually had a very bad start in life. You need, and this is very important, not only do you lack fire, you lack imagination. Because when you're poor, let me tell you something poor people do all the time. You imagine. My brother and I used to sit around and talk about what could be if only we managed to get it out. How it would feel to have this car. How it would feel to be in this place. How it would feel to be famous and internationally renowned. How it would feel to go to Saint-Tropez and live on a yacht. How it would feel to be able to fly on private planes. How it would feel to not have to worry about food anymore. My brother and I used to imagine for hours. We used to talk about it. We believed in this version of reality where we somehow made it. Not only do you lack motivation, you lack imagination. And that's why it's very important. You need to start believing you are the man, even if you're not yet. Before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be world champion. You have to believe these things. We had imagination and we had hunger and fire. You don't have those things. That's why you're fucked. Do you not understand? It doesn't matter how tired I get when I fight. I'm never actually tired because I am so desperate to hurt my opponent. I am more desperate to hurt him than I am tired. In all realms, forever. That is the hunger and motivation. That's why boxers start poor. That's why fighters are poor. There's a different mentality they're born with. They imagine being champion. They're prepared to do anything it takes. They have hunger and fire inside of them. There's no middle-class champions. None. So it's extremely important you develop your imagination as well as your fire. And I'm saying this to you because there's a whole bunch of you who don't realize how badly you've failed. You need to start imagining what actual freedom is. You need to start seeing beyond the confines of your comfort. You need to start developing the hunger it's going to take for you to elevate to the highest possible echelons and stop being enslaved by your comfort, because that's what you're enslaved by. It's extremely important. Your future is the result of your daily actions. You're defined by what you do today. Lazy now, loser later. Get to work. Now, what have you done today which is going to positively affect the outcome of your future? When have you sat and imagined your dream life? When have you self-analyzed and self-reflected and tried to work out where you've gone wrong to end up such a mediocre specimen of man? Why can't you go down to the dealer and buy a brand new Lamborghini right now? Why not? Is it a lack of money? Is it a lack of, what is it? Is it only money? Are you afraid if you buy one you'll get robbed? What is stopping you? Have you even thought about any of these things? Has it even crossed your mind? It's extremely important, gentlemen, that you understand the chessboard and understand exactly where you are so you can make changes. Most of you are not actively building a future. You're not actively trying to build